Hey guys, welcome to Supermarket Sunday. This is a time when I review supermarket beers that I find on my shopping uh, expeditions, shall we say. And we have been back at ASDA this time, and we found this one, Harbour Brewing West Coast Double IPA. It is number 7 in the Collab collection, which is different breweries, working with ASDA. And this bad boy it was in focus then, and all of a sudden it's gone out of focus. There we go. 8% on the ABV. Absolutely ridiculous. And look at that. It's a West Coast mad, bad, crazy bad boy by the sea. I think that's a cool little picture. With regards to the contents, it says contains wheat and barley. Is that all we get? My goodness. Might get a description here. Screenshot that because it's all it says is about using top quality ingredients, which it doesn't say what they are, and Cornish spring water. I have had a look on Untapped, and in this beer, I don't think it says anything else. No, it doesn't. In this beer, the hops are Chinook, Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe, and it's an unfiltered beer. It says it's a West Coast IPA, and one of my friends at the local pub, who happens to be an American, has a thing about West Coast IPAs, and I totally agree with him. If it's a West Coast IPA, it must be crystal clear. So the fact they've said unfined worries me a little bit, because then it's not really a West Coast IPA. It does have a black top, but alas, just a silver bottom. But that's not the end of the world. It's just I'm waiting for a black bottom. You know, I'm in love, and all I need is a black bottom to go with my love. Oh. Right, let's go and do a gentle pour. Give it all the chance in the world to make this beer a proper West Coast. Oh, it's pouring okay, which is good. Let's try and get the majority in here. I am wondering, is it going to go a bit? Oh, I'm going to stop the pour to give it all the chance in the world. But there was a tiny bit of kind of sedimente that came through. Actually, that is not too bad. I have seen a lot worse. Can you see my hand moving just behind there? It is not crystal clear, but this is not really a hazy beer under the traditional sense. Perhaps a bit of chill haze, that's about it. But yeah, maybe we'll let you get away with that. Half a finger's head. Let's take a picture for the front end of this video. Oh, we got some tasting notes at the bottom. Nice. I will show you those. Whoops, boom, boom. And a cheesy grin for Supermarket Sunday. Let me put the beer down. And look, there's a thing up there that says tasting notes. If it will focus on here. Come on, dude. What is going on? Was ist das? Let's go for a real close. There we go. That will zoom in. Aha, there we go. So this is a double dry hopped West Coast double IPA. So it's a double IPA and it's double dry hopped, made with natural Cornish spring water and best extra pale malt for a rich base foundation. It offers a full-bodied resinous pine and fruit character with earthy grapefruit and tangerine aroma from the hops that I told you about. Chinook, Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe. It says this beer is completely unfiltered, so please carefully, some sediment can occur. Well, little bit of a cop out because a West Coast IPA, as I said, should be damn clear, but I think that's not bad. And the colour is fantastic. Look at that slight orange there, which should come from a tiny bit of crystal malt. But I know in the UK, people, oh yeah, a bit of tangerine. People do use other malts, some brown malt, some sort of something sweet, caramel malt, something like that, instead of the crystal, which they would have used in America. Nice. It's a pineapple. And I know what they're saying about pine. I wouldn't necessarily call it pine. I'd call it sort of that kind of danky, citry thing that I get. And Chinook, it has a bit of it too. I know what they mean by pine. I'm kind of call it hedgerow or greenery. That's the kind of thing. Sometimes cut grass, I say, as to citra. Don't know why. That's back in the day. Citra has changed a little bit since the good old days, or the bad old days, should we say? Right, 8% IPA, and it's a big can. It's a 440 can, so almost a pint, not too far away from it. And I believe this beer was about 350, maybe 375, something like that. But there's a deal on, so you can get it closer to £3. £3 for almost a pint of 8% IPA. That's pretty good value. Right, cheers, guys. Oh, do me a favour, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you're entertained by my ramblings, and this is the first beer I've had tonight, so I shouldn't be rambling too much, give me a thumbs up. It really does help the channel out. Why don't you do it now while I'm enjoying my first sip of this? I think this is going to be a good beer. Cheers, guys. Oh, nice. So there is a bit of dankness, that kind of greenness. There's a lot of kind of chewy pineapple. Reasonably sweet for an 8% beer. It's finishing quite sweet. So I'm imagining they're using maybe caramel or caramel malt or whatever in there to complement the pale malt. I mean, the colour, that is not just pale malt. No chance. There's something else in there. Unless, of course, they've done some ridiculous boil for like 100 years and got it down to that colour and put loads of long form sugar in. But why would you do that? Especially for a supermarket beer. Oh, quite well carbonated. My goodness. Yeah, that kind of pineapple kind of thing. Yeah, it's definitely there. Wow. Yeah, there's some Simcoe in there too. So there is a bit of that orange. The orange and the pineapple go really well together. And it kind of gives a deeper, I mean, the pineapple, I would say, is probably the main flavour. But the orange from the Simcoe, that kind of orange, that juiciness, really does work well. It's like, yeah, almost like a kind of sweet jammy kind of thing. Like, I don't know, pineapple. They don't usually do pineapple jam, but like an apricot maybe. That sort of flavour, so that sort of sweet jam flavour, which is cool. I'm jamming, doopy doopy doo. All right, I'm Jonna. Oh, yeah, it's really interesting because there's quite a lot of bitterness coming through from the hops too. So they've used a lot of hops in here, which I'm glad to say. Some breweries kind of skimp when they're making a supermarket beer, but I don't think these guys have at all, which is fantastic. So maybe they've left it a little bit sweet because they know they're going to get the bitterness from the hops. Um, So they've left it a little bit sweet to balance that out. And also, because this is an 8% beer, which is pretty good, they need a little bit of that sweetness and maybe a little bit of that hop bitterness to kind of balance and hide the alcohol as well. And let me tell you, they've done a really, really good job. This is a proper beer. I don't think you could have a few of these and not feel it. Might get away with one tonight, but yeah, my God, they'll gang up on you pretty quick. I reckon. Anyway, let's polish this one off. Yeah, you guys can go on your way. How are we doing? Oh, we cracked 10 minutes, so I'm gonna have another sip to that. Oh, tell you, it's interesting. I had a 6.5% beer last night, and it was a porter at the Royston, strangely enough, the Kent pub of the year, and it tasted really boozy, and I was having trouble drinking it. It was only a half, but I was like, oh, real boozy kind of thing. Some people like that. Me, not so much. Barley wines, okay, yeah, a bit of booziness is cool, but a 6.5% tasting boozy, wow. This is an 8% beer, and it's going down surprisingly easily. What you can tell though is, and I'm starting to get this now, is when I breathe out, my exhalation, that's it, yeah, exhaled breath, you can feel the alcohol coming out on your breath. So when you drink, obviously, in your body's warm as the beer stays a little bit in your mouth and kind of goes down. It kind of, the alcohol, the heat, if you like, isn't felt coming into your body. It's felt on the exhaled breath. Um, I'd love coming out of pubs in the late autumn, especially late at night. So you're coming out 11, 12 o'clock, late autumn and into the winter. And you'd have that steam coming out because your your exhaled breath. I don't know why I'm having a problem with that word. Is warm and it hits the cold air and you get that kind of steamy thing. But if you've been drinking in the pub, had a few beers, like, a fair few beers, and you're breathing out, you can definitely feel the alcohol as it hits the cold air. That's one of those things that you don't get in hotter countries where everything is warm and sticky. Nothing wrong with warm and sticky, dear viewer. Um, but I come from a country where it's cold, where there's seasonality in the year, and I really love watching my breath come out on a cold evening. Fantastic. And speaking of things to look at, we do seem to have some lovely foam. Nice tide lines for me. And on the back, oh, we've got the a sort of Anubis type character here with his ears like a dog, a dog spirit. And what have we got on this side? Something like an Om Leviosa, or perhaps some sort of sea serpent or something like that. That was Foam Watch for tonight. Anyway, let's finish this off. And like I say, you guys can get on your way. Sorry it's been a long one, but it's Supermarket Sunday, damn it. Oh, lovely, lovely stuff. Gonna put that up there. If you're living in the UK and you go to ASDA every now and then, look out for this one. Like I say, it's number 7 in the Collab collection. You can tell this 8% beer is hitting me already. It's the West Coast Double IPA from Harbour Brewing, and you can get that at ASDA. Why not pick up some of the other ones there and tell them that Jonna sent you? Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and Uncle Jonna will be back with another beer review, and that will be coming up real damn soon.